Hey guys, welcome back to another new What If here. Today we are doing What If Naruto Changed the Ninja World Like Never Before, Part 1. And if you're curious on what I mean by what do you mean by never changed it like before? Well, you just have to wait and find out anyway. So without further ado, let's get into this What If. So D9000 attack will pretty much go like in canon. There'll be some small changes, but they'll be revealed later down the line. Anyway, currently we would see a time skip from that point. So currently we'll see a old man and a young boy at a stand called Ichiraku Ramen. And the boy would then say, well, Gigi, could I ask you something? Just like I go, sure, Naruto, I don't see why not. Naruto go, well, could I possibly say dress like a girl? As the Hokage would just look at him and go, I wasn't expecting you to think four things Naruto would ask me about. I wasn't thinking I couldn't imagine someone who'd ask me that. Well, why do you want to dress like a girl, Naruto? That is definitely a very odd question to ask. It's not to say, well, you see, GG, I was thinking, said like ninja's greatest weapon is deception, so I was thinking if I, if I ever become super famous and powerful and say a ninja wants revenge or wants to kill me and tries to find me, well, they wouldn't, because they'd be trying to find the, female me, whereas the real me will be happily walking around Konoha, or just walking around Konoha. As the old man or the Hokage would think, does have a kind of a point there, but it does also run in his blood, as he is after all an Uzumaki, though he may be only half an Uzumaki still runs through him, as well most Uzumakis, from what I've heard from Mita when she was alive, and Kushina from what she could remember from her childhood when she was alive at Uzugakure, that most Uzumaki, so around 60-70% of Uzumakis would generally cross-dress, so men would dress as girls and girls would dress as, men would dress as women and women would dress as men when they go on missions, as to pretty much hide to, kind of the fact that what Naruto had brought up, and so it just became something normal for them to do. So, she'd then say, well, if you really want to, Naruto-kun, if you really, really want to, then it's fine by me. As Naruto would look up with him with, you could see happiness in his eyes as he'd go, he'd just ruffle the boy's hair and go, now then, how about, after you heard what it means to be a ninja, what do you want to do? But will you do you want to simply say live out your life like a say, civilian? Or do you want to become a ninja? As Naruto pause for the minute of a second and then turn to his GT, or the Hokage, the leader of the village, the leader of the Hidden Leaf village. As Naruto would say, well, of course I want to be a ninja. I want to be the greatest ninja of them all. I want to be stronger than the fourth Hokage. And someday I'll take that hat away from you, GG. So you just smile at the boy and go, well, I guess I'll just have to wait and keep the hat warm for you now, won't I? That's not to go, well, yeah, but I'll get strong, I'll train. But at that, Gigi, could you possibly help me train? As Hokage would think, well, I can't exactly help him train. Well, I can't exactly train him or help him train, but I can at least give him suggestions on what to train in. So he'd then go, I wonder, do I have one on me right now? So he'd pat himself down as you go, as you just go, well, sorry my boy, I can't exactly help you train, but I can at least point you towards things you should train in. As you're currently only 4 years old, well, almost non-D's training at your age, but as you are, well, so kind of sigh in his head as it's like, well, firstly, how about we unlock your chakra? Snato go, chakra? What's that? As Tokaka would say in his mind, right, he's again only 4, of course he wouldn't know about this, he's not in academy yet. So he'd sigh and go, well, chakra is inside of everyone, inside of every living thing. Everything has chakra. And chakra is the energy within us that lets us, ninja like me, do, say, let's see, well, say spit fireball, raise the earth out of the ground to make a wall, to make water and to make a dragon out of water, or for me, or so that, say, and well, like as ninjas, we can walk up walls thanks to chakra. We can walk on water again thanks to chakra. So, and what I mean by you unlocking it, Naruto, is that well, you simply need to kind of, even though now you know you've like say you've got chakra, you still don't know, well, not exactly don't know, you have no connection to like your chakra, and so what you have to do is, as you'd look at Naruto and go, you are following along, are you, my boy? So Naruto would think, well, think to himself, well, the only thing I got from that was chakras in everything, and that I need to unlock it, and that I need to unlock it to gain control of it, so I could do these jutsu thingies. As Naruto would just say, hi, yeah, GG. And so you'd go about, or to unlock your chakra, you simply need to meditate, and you should feel a warmth in either your heart or around your stomach. Yeah, so around that area, once you feel that warmth, pull on it, and pull on it as hard as you can. And then you should, once you've pulled on it hard enough, you should feel that warmth travel throughout your entire body, and then, well, that's it, you've awakened your chakra. Stato would kind of go, okay, GG, well, could I do that right now? As the guy go, well, I don't see why not. Naruto then closes his eyes and start slowing down his breathing, as he'll then start searching for warmth, and a couple of minutes later he'll then find it as he'd pull on it harder and harder and harder until he gave one final pull as an explosion of chakra. And like normal people, and like normal people like to have, say, like a spike of like that, say chakra signature would spike before settling down. Naruto's chakra signature practically, Naruto's chakra itself would just more of a giant explosion type, though it didn't damage nothing. Though for the people that felt the chakra, as everyone could feel it, some people could feel the chakra flow over them and the warmth that would follow with the chakra, and some people all the civilians would just feel the warmth, like a warm tingly feel, like a warm feeling pass over them. And yeah, though the fox, the QB deep inside of him, would be awake, would feel the fox had awoken due to the fact that his Jinchuriki's chakra was kind of being a lot more calmer than usual, so he'd awoke, and then seconds after he'd awoke, he'd felt a huge explosive amount of release of chakra from his Jinchuriki, as he'd realise, as he'd think, wait, but only foolish monkeys can only I should go, so that's why you sealed me inside of him, sealed all of me inside of your boy, hey Minato. Instead of simply splitting my yin and yang up, you sealed the entire me inside of your son. I always wondered why he never died when you did that, but it seems like you and Uzumaki as well, which has meant that yours and Kusuno's boy is a full Uzumaki. Wow, this has got a lot more interesting. As you then refocus, as the explosive amount of chakra then made it to some other buildings, as Kuma had seen from the corner of Naruto's eyesight. It's like some buildings shake, and after then feeling Naruto's chakras, as Kuma's, the fox's mouth had almost, the fox was quite surprised, as Naruto's results were that of the two tails, and having half of that explode out of you is, would drop your results to the one tails. Yeah. And at that amount of chakra, anyone with a dojutsu like the Sharingan or the Byakugan would be blinded for life, and anyone that was a sensor would their sensory ability would be blinded for better part of a good hour or two. The better you are at sensing, the longer it takes for your sensory abilities to return back to normal. And yeah, Hokage was just astounded, and he'd think, and he'd go, that was a lot of chakra release. With that amount of chakra pretty much exhausted out of him, he should be passed out. His Naruto would open his eyes and go, could I have like another couple bowls, please? As Hokage would just blink and go, guess he's unpredictable. Yeah, maybe that will become, maybe one day in the future that will become his title. Number one, Kanhai's number one unpredictable ninja. That sounds just right for a Uzumaki. Especially Naruto Uzumaki. Is Naruto go, well, GT, now I've unlocked my chakra, what do I do? Now, as Hokage would go, well, here, as he'd hand him a piece of paper, as Naruto would take it, turn it over and go, what do I do with this piece of paper? As Hokage go, never explained that to him. Just go, sorry my boy. I kind of thought I would explain it to you, but anyway. That is called chakra paper. When you channel your chakra into it, it will have a reaction with your chakra revealing your nature element. And what I mean by that is there's 5 basic nature elements. There's wind, and there's wind, water, earth, fire, and lightning. And so those 5 basics, if you have one of them, it will react with your chakra and display it. And every ninja, every civilian has a nature type. And whilst, say, if you have fire and you want to use water-based jutsu, well, it would take you maybe longer, and it would take more chakra, but you'd still be able to learn a non-affinity element. So yeah, not a kind of not that explanation, as it'd go, well my boy, now if you channel chakra into that, if you have wind, it will cut in half. If you have fire, it will burn to ash. If you have water, it will soak. If you have earth, it will crumble to dust. And if you have lightning, it will crinkle up into a ball. Got it? It's not to say hi. So then channel his chakra into it, as it would then be cut into small pieces of paper. As the Hokage would blink and go, whoa, Naruto, that's quite an impressive wind affinity you have there. So Naruto would go, really? Is it strong? So Hokage would go, yes, Naruto, it's really strong. It's actually quite perfect for doing, it's quite good for doing damage-based attacks, as wind is generally considered, like wind jutsus are generally used for dealing heavy damage, and that, so it's very good for, it's good for a ninja. So Naruto would be a lot more excited, as he'd go, now then, obviously you need to learn chakra control, as Naruto go, and what do you mean by chakra control, GG? As you'd go, put it this way, say if you were to, say, do a jutsu, one of 2 things could happen. If you, one of 3 things would happen if you had no chakra control. Either the jutsu wouldn't work, it would work and be powerful, or it will blow up right in your face. And yeah, so it's quite dangerous to perform any real jutsus without any amount of chakra control. Sure, everyone's born with some level of chakra control, and the more chakra you have, the harder it is to learn chakra control. And also, with like that. Also, girls have a better control over their chakra than men do. We don't really know why that is, but yeah, it's not a kind of nod and go. So how do I exactly train my control? GG is Hokage. It would go well. Well, for you, Nat, there's generally a process which you'd go through, but as you've got so much chakra, it'd be kind of silly to go through that. So how about this? I'll tell you the tree walking exercise. And what I mean by that is there's two ways to do that exercise. One, you channel chakra 2 legs and run up the tree. Then once you feel like you're going to fly off or that, you mark the tree. Then you land on your feet and run up and try and pass it. The second, which is the smartest way to do it, and the way I learned it, is that you lay on the ground, you put your feet onto the tree, and if you channel too much, you'd be pushed away slightly. If you channel too less, your feet would stick, but you'll be able to move them up and down the tree. And if you've got it just right, it'd be like you're like super glued to the tree. You won't be able to move your feet off the tree. And once you've got that, you simply then remember the amount you needed and then start running up and down the tree, slowly doing it over and over again until you can walk up and down the tree with ease. Once you can do that, you can then move on to a more advanced one like water walking, or if you want to, you could then move on to your wind affinity chakra control, which the first step is to get a leaf and cut it in half with chakra alone. As not to go well. Okay, GG. As Chuchu would then bring that to the first. Well, I know would bring the first of 20 bottles for Naruto. And so after a good 30 seconds, and Naruto had the 20 bottles very fast at eating, he'd signed, patted his belly, as he'd then go, well, GG, I guess I'll see you next time. As he'd go, oh, where are you off to now, my boy? It's not good to say, well, I'm gonna go off to train. The sooner I start, the better. As it was simply and go, well, okay, but remember, Naruto, don't start too late. As Naruto would say, I know I won't. As he would then run off towards a training ground, well, roughly where the training ground area is. And around 10 minutes later, he'd finally found a training ground that was empty. This training ground was marked 7, so he'd amused that it must be the 7th training ground, or the name of the training ground is 7. And well, he'd enter, and he'd then keep walking until he was in the middle, and then he'd then walk over to the tree line. After he'd arrive, he'd walk into the forest a bit in training ground 7, and after after half a minute of walking, he would then stop and lay down on the ground next to a tree, as he would then do what his duties told him to do. And so, and that's what he'd be doing for the back part of a week. Would be, no, not a week. You'd get it after around, an hour, and then he'd simply be running up and down the tree for the rest of the day. And yeah, the next day that I'd wake up as he would then go, well, as he'd hurt a bit, as occasionally he'd either slip off the tree and fall from it, as so that would stretch, and he'd go, well, as he'd then wake up and do his morning routine, and that would sit down waiting for his ramen, and he'd then think, I wonder what happened if I channeled chakra to my arm, just to my hands. I wonder what will happen. As the fox would kind of hear his slight thoughts and kind of round awake, and the fox would think, I wonder if he has that Geki Genkai. I wonder. Is Naruto would start channeling chakra to his arm, and then could then feel his chakra being pulled towards his arm even more, so he'd just let and keep on pumping more and more until he could then hear some the clang of chains as he'd open his eyes, and he'd go, so he'd poke the chains that come out of his hand as he'd go. Wasn't actually thinking something would happen, because he'd keep on poking them, as he'd go, how do I guess stop channeling chakra to it? As he would do that, and the change would vanish, as he'd go, guess I should show Gigi this. But first ramen, as he'd eat his cup of ramen but still feel hungry. Go, strange, I still feel hungry, more hungry now than I did a couple of seconds ago. Oh well, I guess I just had to eat Chakra ramen. I think they're open at this time. As he'd then head out towards Chakra ramen, and after a good 5-minute walk, he would then open up, and he would then walk through and go, hey old man, you open? As Chichi would walk to the front and go, Naruto-kun, what are you doing here so early? I don't generally see you until at least around midday. As Naruto go, well, I kind of did something or found something out, and well, I'm kind of hungry. As teacher would go, oh, can you show me? So Naruto would try and go, sure, I guess so. So he'd channel chakra into his hand again, and the chains would come out again, revealing themselves, as he'd go a bit wide-eyed at Naruto and go, Naruto-kun, I'd highly suggest you show Hokage-sama this. So Naruto would go, okay, I was planning to show Gigi. First, can I have some ramen? As he'd go, sure my boy, it'll be on the house. You mean it? So go, yeah, it's a, it's, let's say, so go, it's a special occasion. Oh, what's the special occasion? Well, you'll find out. Well, you'll say you realise once either once the Hokage either tells you what you've just shown me is not to simply just say, well, okay. As you'd sit down, as you just go, my boy, how many bowls, well, what ramen do you want and how many bowls? And, well, after having around 10 bowls of ramen, he'd then head off towards the Hokage tower. So you'd think, well, I guess Gigi would be up at this time. He's the Hokage after all, and yeah. And enter, as the receptionist would say. Oh, Naruto can. How may I help you today? It's Naruto go. Is Gigi here? I kind of have to show him something. Should go. Oh, can you? Can I see what it is? As Naruto would go. Sure, as he'd walk over to her and he'd once again channel Chakra into his hand, revealing the change, as he'd gasp and go, I'll go and see if Hokage-sama is free, if he's okay right now to see you. As Naruto would simply nod. She'd kind of burst through the Hokage's door as Hiruzen would look up, as he'd go, Hokage-sama, Naruto, he's got something to show you. As the Hokage would just look a bit panicked at the way she just said that all, and came bursting through his door, as he'd say, well, send him in, now. I should go, hi. She'd then disappear as a second or two later Naruto would walk in. As Hiruzen would go, you okay, my boy? You have something to show me, right? As Naruto go, hi. Hi, Gigi. Yeah, I do. Hey, do you know what this is? As he'd channel, he'd do his change again in his hand, as Hiruzen would blink a couple of times before stepping around his chair and poking the chains just to make sure they're real. Then he'd pinch himself and go, they're real. As he'd look up at and go, so he'd sigh and go, well, what I'm about to tell you, Naruto, is something as you know, I do know who your parents are, but, of course I haven't told you, and I still won't tell you who your father is. You need to be a lot stronger to know who he is, due to just knowing who your father is would say you put you in much more danger than you already are in. It's not to kind of simply nod and go, okay. So I go, Naruto, the chain you just showed me is from a Geki Genkai. And that Geki Genkai is called the Adamantine chains, or what some other people would call them, the Uzumaki chains. And yes, it means, Naruto, your last name, Uzumaki, is a clan. You are from a clan that is dead or dying. To us, to my knowledge, you're the only Uzumaki I know that is alive and living. Though there probably is more across the land itself, across the elemental nations, but I can't say 100% certain. So right now, you're the last living Uzumaki. You're the last living person from the Uzumaki clan with that Geki Genkai. And Naruto would kind of go, whoa, well, what can I do with it? As he'd go, well, I'm not, well, I may be known as the Professor Naruto, my boy, but sadly I do not know. But luckily enough, before your mum had died, she did leave you something, so I'll go and retrieve it right now, and hopefully that will help you out with your ability to control your chains. As Naruto would simply just say, well, okay, as the Hokage would then leave the office for a couple of seconds, then he'd return and go, well, he'd sit down and hand it over here, Naruto. This is, well, what your mum left behind when she, well, what she gave me before she had died. As Naruto would go, well, can I open it? As he'd go, yes, my boy, but do you want to sit over here on the couch? As Naruto would nod. As Hizen would know, it'd probably be he would probably see Naruto cry, and to be honest, and to his own amazement, he really hasn't seen Naruto cry in all the time he's seen him. He really hasn't seen the boy cry. Maybe when he was 2 or 3 years old, but now that he's 4, he really hasn't seen him cry. And so Naruto would then try and open it as he would, and as it would then open his eyes and go, you may want to bite on your finger and draw a bit of blood. And Naruto would look at him a bit like oddly. So he'd go, and well, just plainly confused, as Hizen would go, well, you see, there's probably a seal on the scroll to prevent anyone that isn't, well, you from opening the scroll. So you need to drop a bit of blood onto, well, where it would open and channel your chakra. Once you do that, you should be able to open the scroll then. Naruto would nod at that and go, well, okay then. So he'd bite bite down on his thumb hard enough to draw out some blood, as he'd then wipe the blood over on the scroll and then channel his chakra into it. The scroll would then glow a bright red before the light would disappear, and Naruto would then go back and this time be able to unroll it. As the letter would say, as the letter would start with, "Dear Naruto, dear my baby Naruto, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there to see you, to watch you grow up, to hear you speak your first words, to see you take your first steps, and to take you to your first academy, to see you graduate and become a fine shinobi I know you either are or will become. And well, if your dad is dead, then the old man is probably giving you this either when you've become Genin, or because, which is most likely, because you've awoken Geki Genkai, the Uzumaki chains. And yes, Naruto, I have written them in this quote, in a, well, not exactly written it, as well, you and I, well, we're of royalty. I am, though I may now be dead, I was, when I was alive, a princess, the princess of Uzumaki and the Uzumaki clan, which, yes, does mean, Naruto-kun, that you are a prince. You are the prince of the Uzumaki clan and Uzumaki. And I'm just sorry I can't be there to watch you grow up. And well, before I continue, I should say who I am. He should have put that. Should have put that in the start. Dalbedo. Oh well. Kusano Uzumaki, Princess of Uzugakure, our home village, our homeland. And, well, if you're curious what happened to it, during the just before the Third Great Shinobi War started, I came to Konoha to become a Jinchuriki, a human sacrifice, as Mito Uzumaki, the first Hokage's wife. She held back what we call a tailed beast, and there are 9 of them in the world, going from the one tails, which is the weakest, up until the 9 tails, the greatest and strongest of them all. And it has been the privilege of the Uzumaki clan. It has been a kind of job of the Uzumaki clan since Mito had sealed it within inside of her, becoming the first Jinchuriki of the 9-tailed fox. And as she had gotten old, she had looked for a new Jinchuriki, and I was told that I was pretty much perfect to become the next Jinchuriki. And so, after saying a very teary and sad goodbye to my parents and sister, I had left Uzugakure and had come to Konoha. And after getting to meet Mito Uzumaki and talk to her, Mito was in her 200s. I knew as a kid that Uzumakis could live long, but I didn't know we could live until we were at least 200 years old. That was just surprising for me to hear. And she told me how she became the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails, and why she chose me, in that due to my uniqueness with the chains, as once you've awoken one of 2 Uzumaki Geki Genkai, yes, one of 2 Naruto, the second one is well, it's all useful, but it's not exactly great for battle, as the second Geki Genkai of our clan is called Heal and Bite, and well, quite simple. The person who's injured would bite onto the person with the Heal and Bite Geki Genkai, and the injured would suck on the person's chakra, and the person's chakra would heal them from their injuries, no matter how close to death they are, no matter the wound, no matter how seriously the wound is. They heal the damage, the injury, anything would heal. So it was a pretty powerful Geki Genkai in all, but it wasn't that useful for in a battle, because the person of the Geki Genkai couldn't heal themselves, so they generally went into the medical, or became a medic nin, or a medic ninja, so that they could heal themselves whilst healing others, their fellow clansmen and clanswomen. And but the chains, they were obviously the favoured and were generally the most common Geki Genkai out of the 2, as over around 90% of Uzumakis had the Uzumaki chains, and around 10 to 20% of users of the chains also had the healing bite. So could it be possible that you have both? It's possible, but you don't like to find out. If you had the healing bite, would to have someone who's injured bite down on your skin, though, due to the fact that you probably are the third Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox, it possibly might heal, though it may also not be a smart idea to test because of being a Jinchuriki. Obviously, your body's probably gotten used to the fox's chakra, and thus it's not corrosive to you. But if somebody else were to have the fox's chakra inside of them, it could very much kill them. It would it'd be a poison to them. Whilst it's not dangerous to you, it's poison to somebody else. And so, if you do ever use the chakra, just be wary of the people you use that chakra on. And yeah, and well, I just hope you grow up strong. Hope you achieve your dream, whatever it may be, and I will forever love you, no matter the path in life you take. And yeah, I just wish you a happy and long life, my baby boy, and know that no matter what, I will forever love you. No matter what you do, I will forever love you, and you are forever in my heart, Naruto, my baby boy. As Naruto would be crying, as the Hokage would put a hand around him, as he'd say, there, Naruto, there. As Naruto would just cry and cry. And after a good 5 to 10 minutes, he would finally start calming down. As he would then look and he'd then go, well, I guess everything's sealed in now. As the Hokage would go, well, my boy, how about you open that scroll, that seal when you get home? Because Naruto would say, yeah, that will probably be the best idea. Should go, well, if that's all, my boy, you may leave now if you wish. And Naruto would go, well, okay then, GG, well, guess I'll see you next time. Bye. As Naruto would run off out the door, although a bit still on the sad and emotional side, as Naruto would kind of run home, ignoring the glares of the villagers. And once Naruto got home, he locked and practically barricaded the door to make sure no one, even if the lock gave out, nobody could get in, pretty much. So he'd sit down in his bedroom as he'd reopen the scroll and go down to bottom where the ceiling matrix was, as he would then channel Chakra to it as a puff of smoke, and as then like a load of scrolls would come out as he would read them. One would say clothes, one would say weapons, another would say genjutsu, ninjutsu, taijutsu, and the last one Naruto was looking for would be Geki Genkai. Naruto would pick that one and seal the others away as he would unroll it. And well, there'd be one other scroll after that one, which would be elemental ninjutsu, and training, of course, would be in them. As Naruto would then open up the one as the scroll would, as the scroll would just have, like, Mal would explain, say, different training. Well, it would have 2 scrolls, and it would have the name. Well, it would have 2 separate ceiling matrix with the names on top of one, with the name on top of the ceiling matrix. So one would say learning how to control the learning how to control the antimantian chains. Another one would say learning about how to use healing bite. Yeah. And then a third one, which Naruto would be curious, as Mum only mentioned 2, as it would say learning how to use the sensory abilities of an Uzumaki. So Naruto would think, well, I want to go on the chains, but I guess I'll check that one out later on. As you then open the chains one up, as you then read through it, as it would just simply describe simply tell him how to say gain control over them, and how to just the way to pretty much train to better get control over the chains and that. And then under all of that, which is going to say, once you can do all of this, you can start learning jutsus for the chains. Naruto smiled at that and rolled the scroll up. As he then reopened the scroll and reopened his kind of scroll that is the message type scroll, as he would then once again channel Chakra into Acid Puff, and all these scrolls would then be lined, as he would put that one back down, as he'd then look, as he'd go, well, guess I'll see what this one is. So it'd say just like elemental ninjutsu, as Naruto would pick that one up, as he'd then look over and see clues, as he'd go, well, I guess I'll see what Mum packed for me, I guess. As he would then sell all the other scrolls away, leaving the 2 that he picked up out. As he would then roll open the Chakra Affinity scroll. As the scroll would simply have 5 different ones. One saying water, one saying obviously fire, earth, wind, fire, water, earth, wind, lightning. I think I've said 5. Fire, earth, wind, water, lightning. Yes. Don't know why I thought that was more. Anyway. After Naruto would then channel the chakra into the wind one, and it wouldn't do nothing. Naruto then went, maybe I channel wind chakra into it, and after channeling a bit of wind chakra into it, it then poofed, as then a scroll would be sitting on top of the scroll. So you'd pick that scroll up, and it would say the introduction into the introduction into controlling wind chakra. So Naruto then, as it would then say what you have to do for level 1, which Naruto is currently doing, or well, was about to start, but he decided the morning to channel Chakra into his hand to see if he could do anything for just, yeah, and well, yeah, and that's how we're here anyway. So yeah, and so I did go, so just what Gigi said, though he'd seen at the bottom it said, and then, well, after he'd rolled down the scroll, it then had lines level 2 as noted. So, well, I'll read that once I can do level 1, because there's no point me trying to jump to level 2 when I can't do level 1 yet. So he'd roll it up as and place it in his night drawer, his nightstand, and he'd then open the one with clothes, as it'd say, dear, as then there'd be a small kind of letter at the top, as it'd say, dear my baby Naruto, if you've opened in this, then you've either got no clothes or possibly have asked the old man if you can dress as a girl. Don't worry, you may think this is a bit odd, as most children your age generally only, well, most children around your age generally only wear one set of clothes, but this is quite normal for an Uzumaki, as over around, well, almost to pretty much every and all Uzumaki that tend to go on missions and even just about their daily life will dress in the opposite clothing. So for men they'll wear women clothing, for women they'll wear men clothing, simply so that if they were, say, when they go on a mission, well, you know, like somebody were to want revenge on them, like they, well, once they go back to the clan, you know, they'd be asking for a person who doesn't exist. So they would think, that's the same thing I'd kind of told Gigi in a way. And so it goes, so yeah, but don't worry, if you only want to stick with the boys' clothes, you can. I did pack one for pretty much, well, up until you were around, well, I did kind of pack I pretty much put clothes in for pretty much every age from around 4 and up, but I did do the same with the girls' clothing, so you don't have to worry. And if you do choose to wear girls' clothing, then in each age one, when you pick up level, when you pick up the age 4 one, it will, well, there's a jutsu that our clan kind of came up with, or more so improved upon a jutsu, and that jutsu is actually needed in Konoha to pass the Genin exams, though it's weaker version of the jutsu I'm about to tell you. And the jutsu is, it's called the transformation jutsu, and the first version, which Konoha and the rest of the elemental nations use, is pretty much an illusion type genjutsu. It's an illusion jutsu, meaning if you want to be seen as a, say, dog to sneak in, then you'll still be your height, though everyone that looks at you, everyone that will look in your direction will see a dog. Though if they're good enough, say if they're Chunin or Jonin or S rank missing nin, if they're an S rank ninja or S rank missing nin, then they'll most likely be able to see the minute differences between a real dog and a fake, and then, well, they would then see the real, be able to dispel it, and yeah. But as I said, with the jutsu move made, which is the improved version of that, which makes it a real physical transformation, meaning that if you transform into a dog, you don't say you're not you, in other words, you become the dog itself. So whilst say the genjutsu you'd be walking on your 2 feet, when you transform into the dog with this one, you'd be walking on all fours just like a dog. You'd become the dog. You'd have a snout, you'd have fluffy dog ears, you'll have a tail of a dog. You look just exactly like a dog. Same if you transform to a cat, a mouse, a horse, a bird. Bird's quite useful actually, because you can fly high and get information on your own enemies without the enemies knowing, because they'll just see a bird flying high. So yeah, anyway, I'm getting off track here. Yeah, and as I was saying, in each age, as the girl in the female one, it will say what you should roughly look like. Though note that like almost every Uzumaki only really use it when they come in, like say go out to a mission, but obviously you can use it a lot more. You can even use it every day, but well, just say dispel it at night so you have a chance to, so your chakra reserves have a chance to refill. And yeah, and she would go on to say that talk about the hand signs of it, and then well, yeah, and then say, well, I guess what you should try and aim for to transform into first is, well, like an animal, so a dog or a cat. Something you know a lot about is not to think for a couple of seconds, as the orphanage did have like some cats and dogs, but none of them really, most of them kind of either avoided him. So I'm thinking, I said, like, well, the only things that came to me were foxes. So well, and well, I guess because I've got a fox in my stomach, so yeah. And so Naruto would go through the 2 hand signs that it requires, as he then, after landing on the final one, he would then say transform. And a cloud of smoke and nothing could happen. Naruto would just go, nothing happened, as he'd sigh and go, this is going to be a long day. And truth be told, it was. After around 5 hours of pure just either chakra smoke or getting random parts of his body to a fox. At one point he'd got in his face as a fox, but that was it. And so all he could do was yip. And then at one point, which was one of the worst, he had transformed, though his legs and arms were that of foxes, and though no other part was, so he'd practically was stuck like that for a good couple of minutes till he managed to perform the release seal. Mold the chakra to do the release. So and realise if he transforms into an animal, he's gonna have to learn how to do the transformation without using his hands. And especially in battle, as it'd be quite useful to go from say to hitting your enemy to all of a sudden, say transforming into a tiny creature and then disappearing. So yeah, and well, yeah, after, as I said, 5 hours, he'd finally succeed in transforming into a fox. as Nato would finally, after transforming, he'd open his eyes as he'd go, hope I'm fox, as he'd open his eyes and stand back at him in the mirror in his room would be a fox. A reddish, my blonde and white fox. Mostly blonde fur with the under, his belly and his the tips of the tail being white. His Nato would then go, I did it! As he'd shout that, as he'd shout it out. As he'd pretty much be, he'd shout it out though he'd only yipped as, he's a fox now. And though he'd then stop and go, I guess time to see what the rest of the letter said, as he'd then say in his mind, release, as the puff after the puff smoke had cleared, Naruto would be standing there again as he'd sit back down and start reading again where he left off. And where he left off was pretty much the end. It was pretty much just saying that obviously in each one, when he came, in each one up until he'd say, there's obviously, there'd be there's two ceiling matrix, though there's a third one if Nato Rich Nato do unroll the scroll, and she'd said that one, if you choose to say dress up as a girl, that see that the third matrix underneath this, so once you undo this, it will pretty much help you in becoming a female, or if we somehow got your gender wrong and you're actually a girl, then it's only to become a male, and the differences between a male and female, or boy and girl. Nato would then unroll the scroll a bit more, as he'd then see the third ceiling matrix and the last one on the scroll. So he'd then channel Chakra into it and see quite detailed, then two scrolls would pop out. One would say the anatomy of males, and another one would say the anatomy of females, or the body, the workings of a male and the workings of a female, the workings of a male body, the workings of a female body. Nato had picked up the female one and had read all of it through. So he'd go, at least I know now as well how babies are made. Yeah. So that's one way to find out. Yeah. As Nato would then go, Nato would then, after throwing the two scrolls, because he'd read both of them. He'd read the female one first, and then the male one, because he was male, so why not learn more about his own natural gender? So he did. And he'd read over that one maybe twice to remember it all, and the female one a couple more times, around maybe 5 or 6 times, just to make sure he got everything down. And he would then put these scrolls back in the other scroll, and he'd then go over to the female closed one and channel Chakra into it. And then once he opened it, it was quite a thick scroll, so he'd unroll it as he'd see, by each ceiling matrix would be what age of clothes it's for. So age 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, working all the way down. Nato would unroll the scroll as it would keep on going then it'd stop at well, it'd say 18, then he'd unroll it a bit more, as then it'd say, well, if you do ever decide to get married and well, you can, well, give your girlfriend the scroll and tell her to channel Chakra to, well, in the bottom of the scroll, and well, actually above it would say, in this scroll, my baby boy Naruto is, well, as I sadly never actually got to use it. It was meant to be my wedding dress. Me and your father had planned our wedding just after you was born. We were gonna get married around a month or two after you was born. And I'm not sure if I've told you yet, but I know I shouldn't, I really shouldn't, but your father's mean to Hokage. Yes, the fourth Hokage, as Naruto would just kind of step back a bit, and well, he'd just be mind blown, not step back, he's sitting down and he'd be mind blown, as he'd go, my father's the fourth Hokage, as the fox in Naruto's mind would just face plant and go, of course that's Krishna for you, of course you would do something like that. Yeah, of course you'd just casually say, a S-rank secret. Write down an S-rank secret. Who cares if an enemy gets hand on this scroll? There's Naruto who then realise, I shouldn't let Nandi have this scroll, obviously they'd realise who my father is. And yeah. And well, if Hokage told me that he couldn't tell me who my dad was, then I can't tell Nandi who he is. He must have done something to, I guess, well, he was the fourth, he was amazing, so I guess he probably had enemies, and, well, obviously for revenge, they'd probably stupidly come after me. So now I'd say, go, well, as though he let out a kind of tear, sadness in that, like their wedding was planned a month after he was born, and that she never got to wear it. His matter to think, well, I'll give this to the girl that takes my heart, as he'd unroll it a bit more, 'cause there's a tiny bit left of the scroll. So then there were words on top of it as well. So he'd say, "Dear Natokin, when I was pregnant with you, when I'd kind of gotten bored as I wasn't allowed to do missions or that, so to keep myself busy I started knitting. I started knitting this scarf for you, and well, I'd completed it, so I'd completed it, and so I thought to seal it in here, just in case, while I'm dead, and like you, and well, it'd be like a birthday present or a gift of some sort to you, my one and only present to you. As Naruto would open the scroll, and while we channel Chakra into it and see the scroll, as he would as he'd kind of stare at it, as he'd kind of let out a couple of tears again, as he'd then kind of hold it toward, like, into himself. He'd cuddle and he'd say, "Mum, wherever you are, I promise I'll never let this get damaged. I will treasure this for as long as I live." And so then after that, he'd then seal it back in the scroll, knowing that was the best place to keep it. Then he'd roll the scroll all the way back up, and he'd then channel Chakra into his age one, which he's 4, so he'd channel the age of the one into the sealing matrix that says age 4. And then some scrolls would pop out, one which would say tops, one would say like tops, one would say underwear, one would say then trousers, one would say skirts, tights and whatever. Then obviously it would also then have kind of different shoes, and Naruto would just kind of blink and go, "What? I didn't know girls had so many clothes." So Naruto would then think, "Wonder what boys have," as he then opened the boys one, popped it open for age 4, and it just had tops, underwear, like trousers, and then just a load of, then like another scroll with shoes in there, and this one with shoes wasn't as thick as the one with like the ones that had said like the one from the female side. So he'd sealed the male one back up, and on the and there'd be obviously like, and that on top of the seal itself there'd be a scroll, so you'd open it up and it'd say, and it'd be Goose, and it'd rotate of course again, as it'd say as if she just explain what a 4-year-old girl should have, kind of, and the rough height, though she just said that the best thing to do would just simply transform your current, keep your current height but transform your gender. Though she would mention that you can transform your eye colour and hair, but make sure if you do change it to keep it consistent, so the same eye colour and hair colour, and length as well, same hair length as well. Naruto would kind of then go, well, I guess I should, try it. As he would then look out, should go, I guess he would just have to wait for tomorrow as the sun is starting to set. So he'd put he'd seal that back up, then have the age 4 scroll and put that in a drawer, and then put all the other scrolls back into the one scroll, and then put that in his drawer as well, as he then go to Ichiroku Ramen to have his dinner. And after having around 35 bowls of ramen, he'd then leave, saying goodnight to them. And he'd mentioned of his, he'd said his mother was as the old man had gone, so did she mention anything about who your dad could be? As Naruto would say, well, you know who he is? I just go, well, your mum brought him here once or twice. So Naruto would go, well, he'd kind of like signalise to come closer, waved his hand over to it, like to signal to come close. So Tucci would, as Naruto would whisper into his ear, my father's mean Namikaze. Mum had kind of just half-heartedly wrote it down, though it was a kind of sad moment for me, as he'd then go back, as he'd look at Naruto and go, how did she say it? Well, she'd pretty much broke to me who my dad was by pretty much saying that she was like, after a month after I was born, they were planning on getting married a month after I was born. And she's got the wedding dress though, and she'd sealed it inside the scroll and told me to give it to whoever I plan, for the girl that I might marry in the future. She told me to give it to the girl, to use it. She never got to use it. She'd kind of felt sad. I may, his kind of sister figure had obviously had heard it as well, and she'd stepped around the bar or the stores as well, pretty much. They generally closed that night, though they always didn't really. They always kind of would always kind of stay open for Naruto, so everyone else could pretty much. So once it was closing time, everyone else could leave but Naruto. As obviously they saw Naruto like family, so they would let him obviously stay for a while. And she would then cuddle while her like younger brother type, or at least that's how they saw one another. She saw Naruto as a younger brother, and Naruto saw Aime as his older sister. And he'd seen obviously Tucci as like a father figure to him. As Aime would then kind of just rub his head and go, I'm kind of sorry to hear that, Naruto. Though I hope whoever the girl is, she makes you happy. As teachers go, oh, yeah, I wonder who indeed. It's not good. Hey, I'm too young, I don't like anyone at the moment. And it's like, going, oh, just think, Naruto could be a father. As Naruto then go bright red and go, no, I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon. As I would kind of look at Naruto and go, you know how babies are made? It's like, well, yeah, I do indeed. As Tucci kind of just looked at Naruto and guessed that he'd pretty much, because he'd known obviously Kushi, and he'd guessed that Naruto had probably thought had gone the lines of pretty much every other Uzumaki, which were like to cross-dress and had a jutsu that could obviously change them. And yeah, he'd guessed that obviously to properly transform as a girl or anything, you needed to know the ins and outs of said thing. And yeah, the only reason why Naruto could transform into Fox was because of well, he has a fox in his stomach, and well, yeah, and he just assumed it was like a human being, and somehow, after enough trial and error, he transformed. Although once he'd read his mum, continued reading after he transformed back, stating that you should, say, look up on any animal you want to transform into, as it's not a great idea to try and transform by trial and error. You could end up doing something which could kill you, and that would halt at that, and don't think then think to himself, I'm one very lucky person to not have accidentally died. Yeah. Anyway, back to present. As Naruto, after he'd talked about, Chuchi then pretty much, the army then pretty much sat down and lifted Naruto up and dumped Naruto on her lap. As Chuchi would then kind of talk about how Kushina would be, and that Kushina would generally drag around Minato, as of course I made guess that that the fourth Hokage and Kushina were in some type of relationship, and yeah, as Naruto, he would just share some stories that he'd known, and just how Kushina was, and he'd even he'd then went to the back and came back a minute later with a picture, as you'd kind of go, this is and he'd point at a young redhead, a young girl with red hair and violet eyes, and he'd point and go, this is your mum, Naruto. As Naruto would look at her and go, she's so beautiful. As Zame would go, yeah. From what I can remember, she was always upbeat, though I could tell Lord Fourth was definitely afraid of her. Naruto, not really knowing why he had kind of gone, why would Lord Fourth why would Dad be afraid of Mum? As Chichi would go, trust me, everyone was afraid of your Mum, Naruto. She could practically destroy this entire village if she wanted to. Naruto would she was that strong. Yes, Naruto, she could practically walk into any village and destroy it, and walk out with not even a scratch on her. Heck, not even her clothes could be damaged. And people would run away after once they'd learnt who she was and she'd built up a reputation, they'd run away. They would try and fight her or run away. Though if he had to flee on sight. It was like his Kushina told me once that he'd gotten in a bingo book, which he explained to me that was pretty much if you got in that, it meant you were a nation. One of the 4 other elemental nations feared you enough to warrant to have a bounty on you, and that if you had a flee on sight warning, that was that no one ever in the elemental nations had been granted a flea on sight. So Naruto would go, whoa, that was really strong. It's like, as he'd go, yeah, your father was known as kind of his yellow flash, because his teleportation jutsu, not sure what he called it, but yeah. And yeah, he'd obviously talk a bit more about just how they were, how they interacted. Yeah. And yeah, as the Hokage would like kind of watch from his crystal ball, though he can't of course hear them, though he could see that Naruto was kind of a bit sad and crying at first, though he was now more happy and like interested, as thought it struck him as he'd wondered, I wonder why he was close with like Minato and Krishna. I wonder why he never tried to adopt him. Maybe he didn't see fit, as Naruto is pretty much a prince, so guess that could be why. But maybe guess I'll go and see him tomorrow and ask him why he never bothered to try and adopt Naruto. And yeah, then the Hokage would turn his crystal ball off as Naruto had then said goodbye and left after another like 32 hours of talking, of just stories and what his parents had did, and yeah. And yeah, Naruto, the only wish that Naruto had now was to maybe somehow one day meet his parents again, and that maybe there could possibly be a jutsu out there that could possibly reunite him with his parents, even if it was for an hour or an hour at most, so that he could at least meet his mum, and like at the very least meet his mum, and at the most meet, well, both of them. As he'd sign go, well, Gigi did kind of always say, well, Gigi did also tell me that obviously like with like, well, no matter the jutsu, there's always a weakness or a price that you'd have to pay. There's always a weakness to a jutsu, and there's always a price you have to pay, a downside to it. As Naruto think, well, I guess if say a jutsu like that does exist to resurrect someone, I guess the price to pay would be that you'd have to sacrifice someone. But I wonder if there's a way to maybe get around that. I wonder. You'd think before it'd go, well, I need to get a lot better though in chakra control first. And well, yeah, after thinking that, he'd then quite frankly bumped into his door. He'd blinked and go, I'm home, as he then unlocked his door and opened it, or tried to, and then he'd realised, it's like, oh right, I left through the window. I barricaded the front door, didn't I? Oops. So he'd then relock his front door, or well, shut it to what he could, relock it, and then jump in through his window, through the bathroom window, and then he'd shut it. So he'd then walk into his bedroom and then pretty much fall onto his bed and close his eyes, as he'd then reawaken them in somewhere else. Where is this place? Well, you just have to find out in the next part, guys. So if you have enjoyed this, guys, like, and well, if you want to see more, consider joining us and press the notification bell so you don't miss anything other what ifs like this. But I don't really know where I'm going with this, so let's retry this, guys. So if you guys have enjoyed this, like or tell me in the comments down below. If you If you don't like this, well, tell me why in the comments. Why didn't you like it? So, could it be you couldn't hear me properly? Could it be that I was going loud 1 minute and then very quiet in the next? Or was it something else? Was it, I don't know, the plot? Tell me in the comments down below, and who knows if it's something I could fix or blend to whatever. Yeah. Anyway, guys, stay safe, and hey, and well, good. Bye. Let's retry that. Good. Bye.